For decades, there was this powerful idea in software testing that everyone agreed was brilliant, but also completely useless. Well, today we're going to talk about how AI is changing all of that. This is Mutation Testing 2.0, and it's about to totally reshape how we find bugs in our code.
It all kicks off with this really simple but kind of mind-blowing question. What if all that endless, tedious work of writing and maintaining tests was just done for you? That future? Yeah, it's getting here a whole lot faster than you think.
So let's back up a bit. Where did this all come from? Well, it starts with a concept that for the longest time was seen as a brilliant but useless idea, a real sleeping giant in the world of software testing.
The idea is called mutation testing, and it basically flips everything on its head. See, it's not about testing your code, it's about testing your tests. Think of it like a vaccine for your code base. You intentionally inject these tiny, controlled bugs, they call them mutants, into your code just to see if your tests are actually good enough to spot them. If a test catches the mutant, great, it works. But if that mutant survives, uh-oh, you've just found a hole in your safety net.
Awesome idea in theory, right? But in the real world, it was a total non-starter. For decades, it was just way too slow, way too expensive from a computing standpoint. I mean, creating thousands of different versions of your code and running all your tests against every single one, no team trying to ship a product on a deadline could ever afford to do that. So it just stayed in the universities as this cool academic what if.
Okay, so if this idea was basically gathering dust on a shelf for so long, why are we talking about it now? What exactly sparked this AI-powered awakening?
This quote from Mark Harmon just nails it. After all these years of being a purely intellectual idea, it's finally breaking out into the real world, into the industry. Something has definitely changed. And that change, that catalyst, is artificial intelligence. AI is what gives us the intelligent muscle to finally make this work. It can predict which mutants are most likely to cause problems and then run tests at a massive scale. It's the thing that finally woke up the sleeping giant. So this new AI-powered approach gives us a totally new way to think about testing. It's called Catching JiT, or just-in-time tests. Let's dig into how it actually works. The workflow is actually so simple, it's beautiful. It goes like this. A developer makes a code change. Right away, an AI takes that core idea of mutation testing and uses it like a laser, generating a test for that one specific change. This isn't some generic, broad test. Think of it like a sniper rifle aimed right at any serious bugs that new piece of code might have introduced. And, this is the best part, as the code changes and evolves, the test automatically adapts right along with it. You see, this is a really fundamental shift in philosophy. The old way of thinking, what we call static correctness validation, was about trying to prove that the entire system was perfect all the time, which, let's be honest, is basically impossible. The new way is change-specific fault detection. It's so much more practical. It just asks a simple, more important question. Did the change I just made break something important? The benefits here are just huge. You get super targeted tests for every single change. They adapt on their own, which means no more brittle, high-maintenance test suites that nobody wants to touch. But really, the single biggest win here is this. The heavy lifting, the burden of testing, it shifts from us, from humans, to machines. And that shift from human effort to machine effort, that's a really big deal. It forces us to completely rethink what a developer's or tester's job even is. We're moving away from manual labor and towards something way more valuable, human insight. You know how it is, right? Traditionally, so much of our time just gets sucked into this black hole of maintaining test suites. With JIT testing, that whole dynamic gets flipped on its head. The AI handles all the heavy lifting, which frees up us humans to focus on the much bigger problems.
So what do we do in this new world? Well, your expertise, your brainpower, is now saved for when the AI actually finds something important. Your job isn't about the repetitive chore of writing tests anymore. The focus shifts to analyzing the results that actually matter. It really elevates the role, you know? You go from being a mechanic to being a detective. Which brings us to our last question, and it's a big one. As this technology gets better and better, it really changes the game. If AI becomes responsible for catching all the specific faults and bugs in our code, then what's left for us as humans to test for? It really points to a future where our job isn't about finding bugs, but about defining what quality even means in the first place. Pretty wild to think about.